Don't ever become a stranger whose laugh I could recognize anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have my Clone Wars and Crime mug and my General Grievous sweatshirt. The mug is from a fan of shop, and the sweatshirt is from Jedi Caitlin. I love both of those shops because I'm a Star Wars fan. Okay, so today's video is going to be my February TBR. You know how this goes, but we're just going to be talking about all the books that I'm hoping to read in February. February is going to be a little bit of a weird one. One of the goals for February is to read all of the NetGalley books that are in my NetGalley. I really need to read them, to review them, and then get that out of my head and existence because I keep pushing them off or not reading them, and so I'm trying to really get through those. So that's a big part of February. I also know that I'm going to be starting A House of Flame and Shadow January 30th when it comes out. So I'm not anticipating finishing it in 2 days. So I'm going to be carrying that over into the beginning of February. So I'm not really sure what everything looks like right now in those terms, but House of Flame and Shadow will carry on into February. And then I think the ones on my NetGalley, I have started one already because I just finished my last book of January, except for House of Flame and Shadow is going to be, or that I've started, is Every Duke Has His Day by Suzanne Enoch. And from what I saw about this, it's a historical romance type of a book. I'm not really sure exactly how it fits into everything, but they both have these poodles that get stolen. There's like the Duke and then a female character, and they both have these poodles, Bitsy and Galahad or something, and they both get dog-napped and they're trying to rescue them. That's really all I know about it, so I thought it sounded kind of funny, so I requested it. So I need to listen to that one as well. My dog's being a little problematic, so I may have to leave in a second to give him something to do. Anyway, one book that I would really like to get to, I tend to read more fluffy things in February because it's a short month and it's fun and gives me Valentine's vibes and things like that. So one I would really like to get to is A Spinster's Guide to Danger and Dukes by Amanda Collins. I read the first 2 books in this series and have really enjoyed them so far. And I'm looking forward to this one because I really liked the Duke in question. It's the last book I read in this series, so I've been meaning to get to this for a while and just haven't yet, so I would love to get to it in February. This is book 3 in the Ladies Most Scandalous series. And like I said, I've really enjoyed them so far, and this one will be no exception, I'm sure. But this one, you're following Miss Poppy, who is living a lie, which you kind of find out at the end of the second book. And they meet in the second book, I believe, and they didn't have a great first impression of one another, I think. Poppy was betrothed and she ran away from that and started a new life here with a different identity to escape that abysmal betrothal. But her sister is being accused of murder, and so she has to go back. But she runs into him on her way home and he wants to help her out, but he is asking for a favor in return, which is a fake betrothal, because his name will help her navigate this situation and give her some power, and women will leave him alone because they want to become a duchess. So like I said, I liked the series so far, so I'm very excited to continue. And the Buzzword Book Challenge book for February is Positive Words. So I went with A Fragile Enchantment by Allison Shaft, because I think I'm taking enchantment to be positive. I'm sorry, Saft maybe? Allison Saft? This has already been released, but when I was looking at what this is about, this is like a historical fantasy romance, which is interesting. In this romantic fantasy of manners, a magical dressmaker commissioned for a royal wedding finds herself embroiled in scandal when a gossip columnist draws attention to her undeniable chemistry with the groom. And it kind of goes on from there. So it sounds really fun and interesting. I've talked about this in anticipated releases and in my Buzzword Book Challenge, so I feel like I don't really have to go into that anymore, but I am planning on reading that as well. Another one I'm planning on reading, which is over here because it does need to be hauled at some point, because this was a book that I got for Christmas, was Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. And this is usually not my type of book that I was interested in, but I found this when I was doing my video on the Goodreads Choice Awards picks for 2023 and the winners, like when I did that whole video about like my opinions and kind of looking through the nominations and stuff. And this was one of the books that was nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards, and when I was reading into it, I actually got really intrigued because this is set in Kentucky, which is where I'm from. Sorry, we have to be interrupted by legend, but the main character runs a flower shop, which is so fun. But because she lives in this small town and she's very busy, she has trouble meeting people, and she finds out that Will is back because he is a bodyguard and he's sent to bodyguard some characters that I think were in the first book. And she knows that he would be a great tutor to teach her how to become flirtatious, to become savvy in the dating world, I guess. And lines get blurred, I'm sure, but it sounded really cute and fun, and I hope I can get to this in February. Another book kind of in that same vein is A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin. I've had this book for a while. It's been on my TBR before, I just didn't get to it, but I would love to get to it this time. It's another historical romance, and the main character is trying to find a man to marry for the money because her and her family really need it. And I think she ends up going into society trying to get the husband, and a Lord Radcliffe is onto her, but then things play out not in a way you would expect. The season is about to begin and there's not a minute to lose. That's on the back. This is the Illumicrate edition, so I would love to get to this. It could kind of be part of my Spirit Edges challenge as well. So there are several books on this list already. Hopefully I can get to them all, but I will do my shelf pick as well. If not, we have the backup of that one, but let's see. My Darth Vader mug. I'm gonna try to dig really deep in here. I'll be real with you right now. I drew something, I don't want to read it. I don't think I can do it because of the TBR, what it looks like. So I think for this particular challenge month, I'm gonna pick something that I think I can read. So if I draw something else, I don't know, man. Poison Study, okay. Poison Study. We will accept that answer. And I actually do have a copy of this, so let me turn around. Look at that. Okay. So I drew Poison Study on my, other try by Maria V. Snyder. This is kind of like an oldie but a goodie, I've been told, but I've been interested in reading this for a long time. Essentially what I know about it is that she becomes a taster for royalty, the king, whatever it looks like. But there's kind of like an underlying plot to this, and the person in charge of her is actually giving her poison. And he gives her like the poison and the antidote, and so she has to keep coming back and like training with him and meeting with him or she'll die. And she's a food taster instead of being in prison, so this is kind of like her punishment anyway. And she discovers like a rebel plot in the midst of this, but it sounds really good. I've heard amazing things about this series, so I am excited to try to get to this in February. Well, those are all the books that I'm trying to read in February. Hopefully I can get to them all. I feel like I wouldn't have that much of a problem if I knew House of Flame and Shadow wasn't carrying over, but like there's no way it's not going to carry over. But it should be a pretty fun, for the most part, light and fluffy month, which is on brand. I'm also going to be traveling through February, so that will be something to navigate and for me to bring books with me or whatever. But hopefully February will be a fun month, and I would love to know what you are planning on reading in February if you want to comment it down below. But as for now, that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.